What's going on, guys? Crypto Renegade here for you. In today's video, I wanted to do sort of an end of the year review on the top 3 strategies that I use when entering a trade, what I look at, what I don't look at when it comes to making money with crypto, setting up a strategy, and making sure that understanding with high risk comes high reward, and certain methods and strategies that you can use to make sure that you sort of take a middle path, if you will. That way you can do high risk on certain things and sort of a safer, lower risk on other positions. And I'll kind of briefly touch on the 3 things that I do. So we're going to look at a couple of different charts to sort of illustrate my point here, but obviously starting with Bitcoin here, it's in this very sort of volatile range ever since it broke out of the $28,000 range, as you can see kind of right over here. Obviously our all-time high is right around 69,000, not quite 70,000, but there's 3 things specifically that I look at. And one of the most important things before you enter any sort of crypto trade, period, at all, ever, is to always have a trading plan. Now, what that means is a lot of people, when they put money, whether it's in crypto or the stock market or any sort of investment whatsoever, they typically will just either do it on a whim, they'll do it when they're drunk, they'll do it at the dinner table because their uncle, their brother, their mother, their sister, whomever told them that you need to invest in XYZ stock or coin or whatever because you're going to make a lot of money. So a lot of people will ride high on emotions and throw money into the market without having any sort of understanding of where we're at in the market cycle. Are we in a bear market? Are we in a bull market? What is the current price? How much has the price risen in the past month, in the past year, in the past 2 years? And so on and so forth. So people blindly will throw money at the market, and usually what happens, I would say about 95% of the time, is because they have no plan before they enter the market. And when I say plan, I mean plan of strategically entering the market at a certain price level or a certain market structure point, and then when to take profit and when to exit the market, right? So a lot of people will just simply throw money in the market, see how they feel, and then exit the market when people either panic or there's a lot of FUD or there's a lot of news, there's a new variant, whatever the situation is. And that's why most people lose money trading crypto. Now, everyone knows the basics of making money with crypto. It's buy low, sell high. And it's such a simple concept, but it's not easy. Now, the reason I'm saying this is because everyone knows it's very logical that if you buy it when it's cheap, buy it when the price is low, and you sell it when it's high, you'll make a lot of money. Now, the reason that most people don't do that is because they don't have a trading plan. They don't specifically know, I'm going to enter at this price, and then when it hits this price, I'm going to take half off the table, or I'm going to take all off the table and lock in their profit. So even though the price goes up and down and very volatile, people unfortunately will try to exit the market when everyone's exiting the market because they don't want to get left behind. And that's essentially, you need to do the opposite. You have to essentially train your brain to do the opposite, which is when things are going up, things are going parabolic, like right up here. If you don't have a plan, you want to sell some into strength. And then when it dips down here, you want to buy the dip, because eventually if you believe in the project or the coin or whatever it is that you're doing, you'll ultimately want to have a lower cost basis so that your profit margin is much higher. Now, everyone who trades already knows this, but 95% of people don't do that. They don't have a plan. So when you're looking at altcoins, when you're looking at Bitcoin, when you're looking at any asset, whatever it is, step number 1 is to have a plan when you'll enter the trade, and then always have a plan for either scaling out of a trade, have price targets already set up for you. So I'll use this as an example, round example. If you enter Bitcoin right here after this accumulation range breakout of around $12,000, if you enter a trade into Bitcoin there, you need to have a target of, okay, I'm going to sell my Bitcoin either at 20,000, 30,000, 40,000, 100,000, or I'm going to take 20% off the table at 40,000 when I double my money or triple my money, or I'm going to take another 25% off when it hits 100,000. Whatever your situation is, everyone's situation is different. Now, the way that I typically tend to do this, and this goes into my point number 2 as far as a trading strategy to make money, is you want to separate your crypto into, or at least this is how I do it. You can do whatever you want. This isn't financial advice. But what I tend to do to sort of mentally get around the volatility and sort of rationalize why I do what I do is I tend to put money into 3 separate sections. I have my hardware wallet section. This is where my absolute long-term holds, my Bitcoin, my Ethereum, and just a few others that I put on a hardware wallet. I bought it way, way, way cheap a long time ago, and I'm never touching it. I'm going to pass it on to my next of kin, or I'm not going to touch it for 30, 50, whatever years. It's sort of like a retirement fund. You own it, you hodl it. It's on a hardware wallet, so it's not easy to access, and you always have that little nest egg there. The middle bucket here is for trading. Now, this is if you want to accelerate and you want to play the volatility in the market and you want to make money quicker in terms of your crypto investment. This is where you need to start paying more attention to what the market sentiment is, where the emotion is, and if there's any sort of macro level events like inflation, interest rates raising, what's going on in the world, is the economy in shambles, so on and so forth. And you want to look at it at a holistic view of that. And this is where you'll want to look at specific trade setups where people aren't really paying attention quite yet, because if you're buying right here back in 2017 when Bitcoin was going parabolic, we all saw how that happened. It went almost vertical straight up, and then it came right back down. You wanted to buy earlier before the trend started so that you can potentially ride this for a very long period of time. Easier said than done, because hindsight is 20/20, but as a general rule of thumb, if you want to buy low and you want to sell high, you want to buy before the majority of the herd or the majority of those people get into the market. So I'm going to use a few examples here on a few other tabs to kind of illustrate that point. The third and sort of final category or bucket that I use is my 1 to 5 year holds. Okay, these are new projects that are very high risk, but you think in anywhere between 1 to 5 years they're going to go insane, right? Either they have great fundamentals, they have a great team behind it, you think that it's going to continue to grow and gain adoption, it solves a real problem, okay? Now, there's a few specific coins that I do here. I buy it either during the crowd loan phase or when it hits exchanges after the sell-off, when it's in price discovery, when there's really not much going on the chart. I'm going to flip over here to Solana as a perfect example. So back when Solana was being released, it was sort of touted as the Ethereum killer, which there's tons of those, right? And it sort of consolidated all the way from the time it hit exchanges, which was around, give or take, April of 2020, right after the pandemic hit. And it's basically consolidated between 50 cents and $5, sort of in this range, for well over a year. Okay, this is when the smart money got in. People that fundamentally liked the project, they looked at the project. This is where they would load the boat. As you can see, it went up over 27,000% from if you bought it at, for example, 50 cents when it hit the exchange, all the way up to $260. People made life-changing amounts of money during this kind of trade. Now, if you put this into perspective, April 2020 is approximately 18 months ago, give or take. That's not that long period of time, but if you don't have a plan, people could have panic sold right here, which they obviously did based on the chart. They probably saw, oh, it's at $58. I just made a huge 10x from the $5 breakout. Now I'm going to panic sell. People who typically buy over here have a longer time horizon, 1 to 5 years. So if you hold for over a year, you made some serious money. And if you think that this is going to continue to go up and the price is going to exceed $260 over the next couple of years, then you're going to continue to hold and you're going to sort of set it and forget it, either stake it or put it on a hardware wallet or whatever you're doing. So this is a perfect example of a long-term fundamental play that you want to keep in that bucket, that you're not paying attention to the short-term price moves because you don't really care. You just believe long-term that it's going to work well. And whoever bought this way back in April of 2020 and is still holding it has made some serious money. Another example of a coin that I participated in the crowd loan and I also got as well is Centrifuge. Now, this is a coin that at its peak was $24, and right now it's in an accumulation range of around $1, we'll call it, give or take. So even though this is a new project and there's not a lot of price history, this is something that fundamentally I believe in long term, what they're doing with turning real world assets into NFTs. If this is a project that one wants to be a part of, this is the type of price action and range that you would want to buy it in. Again, not financial advice, but based on this, you want to, when it's in an accumulation range, when it has sort of a newer price discovery, you want to buy it low and then wait for those all-time high holds. Again, 1 to 5 years is typically what I do, and this would be considered in that 1 to 5 year bucket. Another quick example that I'll give you here is Axie Infinity. Now, this coin was started or in the end of 2020, and this is a play-to-earn NFT crypto-based game. And, you know, it was all the way down at one point down to 14 cents on the exchange. And it basically consolidated since November of 2020 until it started to break out until July of 2021. So you had 6 months of time where people basically, if they were playing it, they were earning free crypto, or if they were trading it, it went up over 9,000% from that time period. Imagine getting something at 14 cents and then it going all the way up to $160. That's again massive, potentially life-changing money. And that sort of brings us here to Ethereum. When you're looking at some of the large caps and the bigger coins, you know, obviously in hindsight, when Ethereum topped out at the end of the 2017 bull run, it was at about $1,440. And then it sort of grinded down, and then it had a 2-year consolidation range where it basically just chopped around between $50 and $350 for over 2 years before it started up into a bullish trend and momentum. Now, the third and the final point that I wanted to make here is, again, just to recap, step 1 is always have a plan. Know when you're entering, and don't enter unless you already have a plan for when you're exiting or when you're scaling out to lock in gains. Number 2, of course, is to separate it into multiple categories so that if you have long-term projects that you believe in, you can set it and forget it. And then also have stuff on a hardware wallet that you'll never touch, so you're never completely wiped out of the game in case you make a mistake, which everybody does. The third and final thing is the easiest, and it's really following your plan and having discipline in the market. To me, this personally means don't leverage trade unless you know what you're doing or you have experience. That means being patient. That means, again, if you have a project that you haven't taken profit on and it's gone up 5x, 8x, 10x, 12x, and you haven't taken any off the table, as you can see here, the market can drop and things can change dramatically. You know, when things were up here at over $4,000 Bitcoin and it dropped all the way down to almost $1,500, that's a very steep curve down. And if you didn't take profit up here, and you're all the way down here, you lost a significant percentage of your gain. All this to say is that you need to have discipline when you set your targets because no one can predict the future. We can sit here and pontificate and use technical analysis all day to make predictions about what the market could do next or is likely to do next, but no one knows what's going to happen in the future. So just wanted to sort of recap is timing, discipline, and actually following the plan that you make. If you adhere to those 3 simple strategies, it's worked very well for me. It's worked very well for a lot of people that I know, and it's not overly complex. There's different strategies and different patterns and indicators and so on that you could use to justify what's going to happen next and try to use a crystal ball to tell what's going to happen in the future. But at the end of the day, it ultimately just comes down to following a simple strategy, having a plan, having discipline to stay with that plan, and not letting your emotions control you and learning to control your emotions. Just wanted to give sort of my holistic 30,000 foot view of how I approach crypto markets and sort of the lessons that I've learned either the hard way or the easy way and through studying, and it's worked pretty well. But understanding the risk for each individual profile, each bucket if you will, long term, never touch, and then the immediate trades where you don't want to get too greedy. You want to make sure that you're locking in profit along the way, and that's how you accumulate and get more crypto wealth much quicker. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns about what I've discussed here, please let me know down in the comments. Again, I'm very kind of new to doing these kinds of videos. I do a lot of deep dives and fundamental videos, so if you want me to continue making trading strategy and sort of TA type videos, Let me know down in the comments. If it doesn't get a lot of views and I don't get a lot of comments, then I'll just assume that you guys don't want these kind of videos, and I'll just stop making them altogether. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap that up here. Crypto Renegade out.